how serious are you about changing your life? When people want to reset their lives in some area, or they want to get a fresh start, they often think that the first thing they need to do is to change their location. But it's not the very first thing that needs changing in your life. It might take a while to change your location, but you can start changing your mind right there where you're seated right now. To reset your life, to have this transformation, to get a fresh new start in any area, career, marriage, relationships, health, whatever. To reset your life, the first thing you need to work on is your mindset. What do you mean by that? How you see yourself, how you see your problems, and most important of all, how you see God. If you don't change your mindset first, a change in your location or a change in your scenery, it's not going to help much. You know why? Because you could go to Tahiti, but you take you with you wherever you go. And so if the stress is in your brain and you go to Tahiti or anywhere else, you're taking the stress with you because the stress is between your ears.
The majority of the thoughts that we think every single day are the same thoughts as we thought yesterday. And in fact, 90% of them are. And the same thoughts leading to the same choices leading to the same behaviors creating the same experiences, and the same experiences producing the same feelings and emotions begins to cause our biology to become very similar, very same. And the repetition of that and firing and wiring then creates automatic programs in the brain and body. And 95% of who we are is a state of unconscious or subconscious programs where we've done something so many times that the body now can actually do it automatically without the conscious mind. If you truly wanted to change and you understood that your personality creates your personal reality, and your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. And the present personality who's listening to this call has created the present personal reality called their life. That means if they wanted to create a new personal reality, a new life, they would have to begin to change their personality. They'd have to change themselves. And most people then try to create a new personal reality as the same personality. It doesn't work. So then if you're sitting in your meditation and you ask yourself the question, who do I want to be when I open my eyes? What is the greatest expression of myself? And you said, okay, let me remind myself of how I no longer want to think. You know, the thoughts like, whatever, it's too hard, I'll never change, I'll never get what I want. Let me become so conscious of those unconscious thoughts that I wouldn't let that thought slip by my awareness today unnoticed by me and program my autonomic nervous system in the specific outcome. And then if you said, how would I want to speak today? How do I want to act? How do I want to behave? And you reminded yourself how you weren't going to act and how you weren't going to behave. And you became conscious of those unconscious habits to such a degree you wouldn't go unconscious and behave in the same way. That's when you're no longer the program. Now your consciousness observing the program. And if you said, when does my energy drop? When what do I feel when I feel those typical familiar emotions? What are they? So let me name them, just so I'm so aware of them that when my energy drops, I can catch myself in that moment and not return back to the same familiar emotions and cause my body to believe it's back in the past. And we can't see a new future from the past. So that process then is what I call getting beyond the old self. And it's a disentangling from the program. The word meditation means to become familiar with. So as you sit there and become familiar with those states of mind and body, you begin to objectify your subjective self. Now you are becoming so aware of the unconscious programs, you won't go unconscious. And that's the first step to change. And then what if you said, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? What thoughts do I want to put my attention behind? And begin to install the new circuitry, the new hardware. And if I keep my attention on it and I fire and wire those thoughts, it's going to begin to become a software program. And that's going to be the new voice in my head. That's going to be the voice that's telling me, the new program, that you can, that it is possible.
Victory starts in our mind. When your vision is limited, your life will be limited. It's amazing what happens when you enlarge your vision. when you believe big, when you pray bold prayers, when you dream great dreams. But too often, because of disappointments, delays, things that haven't worked out, we've watered down our dreams. We've lowered our expectations. We're not stretching, believing for great things, believing to get well. Are you putting limits on what God wants to do in your life? Are you focused on what you think can happen only in your ability? You're looking at the natural, but God is supernatural. He controls the universe. He parts Red Seas. He brought water out of a rock. He fed thousands with 2 fish. Don't base your containers on what you can do. Base it on what God can do.
Negative thinking limits God, and it limits all of our potential. What kind of life are we going to have if we don't believe for good things? It's going to be a life without joy. It's going to be a sad life. It's going to be a life full of all kinds of negative things, because if you've got a negative mind and a negative mouth and a negative attitude, then your life is going to be negative. Now, being positive does not mean that we deny the existence of problems. It simply means that we believe that God is greater than the problem. Let me ask you, whatever kind of problem you have right now, do you believe that God is greater than your problem? Do you believe that God can do anything, that all things are possible with God? Let's just stay in faith and every day say, God, I believe that you're going to take care of this. You see, no matter who's against you, if God is for you, you're going to end up being a winner in life. And God is for you, not against you, and God is on your side, and God does have a good plan for your life.
Isn't it amazing how God gives us this thing called an imagination, but He gives us the free will to decide, are we going to let that be controlled by fear or faith? God wants to do something new in your life. God wants to work in you in ways that He's never worked before. But if you're ever going to become the new you, you're going to have to change your brain. You're going to have to think new thoughts. You have to think God thoughts.
You know you want to make changes, you got a lot you want to do in your life, but then you start thinking about those changes and you immediately start catastrophizing. You start worrying, you start thinking about all the reasons why it's not going to happen. This is so common, and the reason why it's common is because somebody in your past either trained you to think this way, or you've had so many bad things happen that you've trained yourself to assume and predict that bad things are always going to happen to you.
The conscious mind with your creativity has your wishes and your desires. The subconscious mind was programmed by other people, your mother, your father, your siblings, and your community. So what is the difference? You wake up with a wish and a desire of what you want, and then the rest of the day, you play the programs that you got from other people that don't answer your wishes and don't support your desires. And all you see is the consequence of it and go, oh my God, why is it not working? And the answer is because you don't see, because remember, the name is subconscious, below conscious. So when that behavior is playing, psychologists will tell us 70% or more of the programs in the subconscious are disempowering, self-sabotaging, and limiting behaviors.
If you're holding on to something that does not serve you, you are making a terrible error. It's going to cause all kinds of problems. You may blame other people or other things. You may blame the situation. It's you are the cause of the problem. Don't hold on to anything that is not serving you. Reject it. Do you know the beautiful part about having an inductive reasoning factor? That's the part that chooses thoughts. You can accept or reject. The beautiful part of your mind, you can accept or reject anything that comes into your world. Accept or reject it. It's a choice. Don't hold on to anything that is not serving you.
There's nothing more powerful than a changed mind. You can change jobs, change relationships, change your looks. The calendar can change. We can go into a new year. But if your thinking is the same, nothing will be different. Why don't you change your mind? Break out of those ruts that have held you back. Now, when those thoughts come saying, it's been too long, it's never going to happen, just tell doubt, I've changed my mind. I know what God promised is on the way. I'm a believer and not a doubter. Tell fear, I've changed my mind. Not gonna live worried, stressed, afraid. I know God has me in the palm of His hand. Tell guilt, shame, the past, I've changed my mind. I'm not living condemned, listening to the accusing voices. I'm forgiven, I'm redeemed, restored, my future is bright. Tell lack, struggle, not having enough, I've changed my mind. That is not my destiny. I will lend and not borrow. What I touch will prosper and succeed. Abundance, overflow, increase is coming my way. Or when thoughts tell you, this is gonna be another average year. Nothing good is in store. Don't expect anything different. Tell discouragement, tell low expectations, I've changed my mind. This is going to be a blessed year, a bountiful year, a favor-filled year. Something good is going to happen to me. When you change your mind, when you get in agreement with God, angels go to work. Miracles are set in motion, healing, breakthroughs, favor comes looking for you.